Mike with Mike's Bags. Today I'm reviewing the Remix by Lucky's, and this is a very unique bag. It's two popular materials, but I don't know if any other bag companies combine these two materials together to make a bag. It's actually two slow sides. You know, there's no fast on this bag. It's two slow sides put together to create a bag, and that's that's kind of risky. I've seen this happen. Lucky's is not the first company to do this. I've seen this happen before. If it's done well, it works out great. If it's done bad, it works out horribly. And I've seen both ends of the spectrum on when companies put two slow sets together. So when I heard about this bag, I was aware of this bag, a little concerned about it. I'm gonna go ahead and dump in, break these bags down, tell you my thoughts on it, tell you all about the details of it, and then tell you kind of who I think this bag would play best for, work best for, who I would recommend this bag to. So let's dive in and break these bags down. And as always, we'll start with the materials. I normally start with the slow side. Again, it's two slow sides, but I'll start with the slower of the two slow sides. And that's actually this printed side here is the slower of the two, the more controllable of the two. This is actually the same slow side that is on Lucky's Encore bag. So if you throw in that, that's what you got here. It's the same slow side you find on the slow side of the Surefire. It's a very popular material, been around for a while, and for good reason it's popular, right? It's a very controllable material. It's a very player-friendly material. It's great if you want to play a dirty style game, but if you throw harder, play on faster boards, it does real well for running bags in the hole in there. Probably the biggest knock, the two knocks on this material here. One is humidity. If you play an area where humidity is involved, you start getting moisture on the board. The more moisture you get on the board, the more this material sticks, and eventually gets to a point where maybe it doesn't slide real well at all. The other thing I would say is this material does tend to hang on the hole when you're throwing it. So you get up there, it hangs on the hole, which is not a bad thing. And I'll get more into the playability, but it's not necessarily a bad thing in this case, but it does tend to hang. And if you watch in this throw, I didn't mention, when I'm throwing inside arm, on these videos here, I'm throwing this slow side, this printed side down mostly, and then I'm flipping over to this hybrid side, and when I want to clean up, push through, whatever like that. When I go to outside arm, I flip over and go mostly the hybrid side down. I think I go almost all exclusively hybrid side down on that and play a little bit of a different style game to show you kind of the different ways that you can play this bag. So just keep that in mind. This side right here, I'm gonna call it a 5-speed, and I'll get more into speeds again. I'll break that down after I talk about the other side as well, because you'll see that my speed ratings don't vary a lot, but the way they play differently, and I'll explain that. So 5-speed on this slow side here. The other side here, which you would think is the slow side, is actually the faster side. This is a hybrid material. It's the same material you find on the slow side of Lucky's hybrid. So Lucky's took their two most popular bags, the Encore and the hybrid, took those slow sides and paired them together. And that's what you got here in these remixes. It's also the same slow side you find on the Brotherhood Guardian, the Killshot Wolverine. It's a 5-speed again, I call it, which again, I'll break that down more. It's a 5-speed. It's very controllable. It's still very hole friendly. It slides up the board really well in all conditions. So where this one struggles humidity, this side plays really well. So it gives you that versatility that if board conditions change, you can just flip sides and still play the same or similar style of game with it. Speed-wise, as I mentioned, both of them play a 5-speed, but it's a different 5-speed. When I rate speeds, it's on a scale of 1 to 10, so it makes it hard to distinguish between sometimes similar speeds. If I went to 1 to 100 on my speed scale, then maybe we've got, a 48 on this side and a 52, or a 46 and a 54, or something like that. I think Lucky's calls this a 5 and this a 6. So there is a slight difference in speeds, and you'll see here when I'm throwing, if you watch. What I found is I think the speeds are about the same initially, but this side tends to grab and stop quicker. This side tends to have less friction and maintain its speed up the board further. So this ends up playing like a faster 5. This plays like a slower 5. It gives you the control. And that's why when I did both sides, you can see there's more control, there's more blockers on this side, there's more bags kind of around the hole, clogging up the hole, recreating a lot of chaos and congestion, where when I flip over to this side, I tend to play a cleaner game, as you see here. And that's kind of, in my mind, what this bag's designed for. Template-wise, these remixes, it's a medium template bag, but it's on that, just starting to get on that smaller side of medium, which gives the bag a fuller hand feel to it. Still a medium amount of fill here, so you don't have an awful lot of flop to it because of that template size, but it's still got some flop, some forgiveness to it. The fill in these remixes is I think it's 100% disc fill. I don't feel any kind of round beads. I don't feel any kind of thicker beads. It seems like 100% disc fill, which is a very forgiving fill, which takes away any of the punishing kick. I mean, this hybrid material has very little kick to it. Initially, this other side, the slow side here, does have some kick to it if you don't throw flat. with that flat fill, that disc fill in here, it does take some of that away. So if you don't throw flat, you still get away with it. So the bag's a very forgiving bag, and there is enough flop here that I found that the bag will grab the hole. So even though it's kind of, not a large sloppy template, it does a good job around the hole. If you're missing left and right, it'll grab and still pull the bag in, especially if you're throwing this hybrid side down. It did a great job of grabbing and then just dripping and melting back in for me. These bags are also ACO stamped, so if you're playing the ACO, you can throw the remixes. Let's jump in, talk more about the playability of this bag and who I think this bag's designed for. And to me, this is a bag that if I'm throwing this printed side down, this quote-unquote slow side down, I'm playing dirty. I'm putting blockers up there. I'm playing cuts, rolls, flops. I'm doing all that. That's what, in my mindset, that's what I'm doing. And then I flip over to this hybrid side, and that's when I want to clean up, push through. I can do that really well. If I want to play more of a hole running game, I'm going to start out with this hybrid side, and I'm going to throw this all the time, and then I'm going to flip it over to this, again, quote-unquote slower side when I want to put a back blocker up there or just put a bag on the board and keep it away from, maybe there's a bunch of bags hanging in the hole. It's my fourth bag. I don't want to bump them into them. I just want to put a bag on. I'll flip it over here, have more control, stop the bag easier. That's what gives you that versatility on that. And really, this bag, to me, if you're that type of player who never throws fast side, right? You've got a bag and you throw nothing but slow side. You push slow side, you do it slow. You just never want to throw fast side because maybe, typically if you throw fast side and you miss, the bag's off the board, you're being penalized for it. And maybe you're more of a conservative player and you like slow sides. Even if you miss, the bag tends to stay on the board, so you're not giving up as many points. You're at least getting something for that bag. That's what this bag's designed for, because now you've got two materials that you can throw, but you can flip it over and get a little bit of a different playability on that. And that's where I think the Remix is designed for. It's also a great bag if you play on blazing fast boards and you need a bag that's controllable on both sides. Maybe you play in low ceilings, maybe you have those 8-foot ceilings or so and you've got to throw a lower trajectory bag and you're having a hard time with quote unquote normal bags sliding off the back of the board, even when you don't throw hard, right? That's where this comes in. You got two controllable materials. You can play that. Maybe you're the type of player who likes to land deeper on the board. Like sometimes, I've seen people that struggle with front boards a lot and they're landing too short. They tend to throw deeper to compensate for that. But if you throw too deep, you have a tendency with bags to want to just skip over the hole. With this bag, you've got two materials that still have control with it, so you don't have the fear of that really skipping over the hole. It'll still grab and fall in. In my mind, that's the type of player that this is designed for. And I wasn't sure how well I was going to like this bag, but the more I threw it, the more I liked it, because there really is a difference in the way these two materials play. Even though they play a similar speed, they play different. And in my mind, whenever I talk about this hybrid material, usually I'm talking about this is something I want to pull out and run the hole in most of the time. It is a materials control. You can throw blockers aside if you want to. You can cut and roll and flop and do all that shot shaping with this hybrid side right here. I mean, you have the control to do that if you want to. This slow side does it better. Right, it does a better job of those cuts, rolls, flops, but maybe you're more comfortable throwing this side most of the time, right? You can definitely do that. I found myself with this bag even though it didn't have a true fast side, it gave me a lot of options. I was really impressed with it. It gave me a lot of options. And I had confidence from this bag that, again, I wasn't afraid when I flipped it over to push. I wasn't afraid to throw it harder. I wasn't afraid to get aggressive with it because I knew even if I missed, it was probably staying on the board. And that's sometimes what happens when I flip over to a fast side on a bag is I tend to become more cautious because I don't want to be, if I miss to the left or right, I'm just flying off the back of the board. So you tend to change the way you throw. You get a little nervous, and then you end up short boarding it, front boarding it, or you end up throwing it too high and soft and you don't push through. With this bag, it keeps that confidence, right? I have confidence throwing this side aggressively just as I do this side. So I can stay aggressive with my throws, but change up a little bit of the play style. So I'm really impressed with the way the Lucky's designed this remix. I think they did a great job of taking two quote unquote slow side materials and putting them together and making a bag that is still playable, and you do have a variance and a difference in the way the two sides play. So again, if you follow those categories of the players I mentioned or this intrigues you, definitely check them out. Leads me to availability. Lucky's has a website. It's theluckybag.com. As always, I'll put a link in the description for you guys. The bags are $75 for a set. It's $10 shipping, $85 shipped to you. It's kind of that low to lower to mid price point for ACO stamp bags or bags in general. And it really, at that price point, if you're intrigued by this, maybe you're not sure you're going to like it or not, at that price point, it's not a big investment, right? You can buy a set, take a chance. I think you're going to like them. It's worth the risk. I've thrown several of Lucky's bags, and honestly, they're all high quality bags. I have no issues with the quality whatsoever, so you're definitely getting your money's worth on those. If you've thrown these remixes, I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially because they are a different bag. Drop a comment down below. Let me know. Share with me, share with everyone else your thoughts on the bags, how you like them, what you like about them, how you utilize them, maybe why you chose to throw them, so that kind of information. I think it's always great when you guys share your comments and your thoughts as well, so people can not just see mine, but they can compare others as well. So as always, I thank you guys so much for your support, and I thank you for watching.